First, you've got to get over some people have some very negative feelings about manage up. Like manage up is a negative thing. Like, oh, I've got to manage up. My boss is not good, not this, not that. I've got to go manage them. That's a leadership issue. I'm going to leave that aside. When I think about manage up, I really think about how do you engage with your leadership in a way that's effective? How do you make sure that you're meeting their expectations, you're meeting the goal, and more importantly, you are positioning yourself, your team, whomever, to be a critical member of the organization? I think it's a couple things. One, what do they value? What's your leadership value? What are the things that are important to them? And once you know what that is, go do those things. So if they're a numbers person, go to numbers, generate numbers. If they're a story person, go generate stories. Understand what their values are, and then go do those things. Now, I'm not saying you sell yourself, that your ethic, if those are unethical things, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about they have a clear vision for what they're trying to accomplish. Again, this concept of a problem. They're trying to solve a problem. Here's what they're trying to accomplish as an organization. Here's the problem the institution's trying to solve. What is that? And then go do that. Go be an integral part of making that successful, and go be as proactive in that space as you can. And if necessary, advocate for innovation in that space. This is an opportunity to think expansively rather than to think about retrenchment. So what is something that's different, new, unique that can be done that may help resolve that? And then what's something you can get rid of? Okay, we're going to stop doing that because that's not fitting that. Because again, we can't just continue to add. We can't have only additive organizations. We have to have subtract in there somewhere. So let's stop doing this other thing because it doesn't seem to fit this value, it doesn't seem to fit this outcome, but this other thing can. I'm also a firm believer, you've got to bring solutions. And it could be that here are 3 solutions and I don't like any of them, but I don't have anything better to offer you. And so you've got to, again, think about, here's the problem, here are the solutions that we can offer. I joke with folks, I'm like, when you get to a leadership position, you don't get to have the easy answers. The easy answers are done by your team. Your team are great at doing the easy answers. That's what they're there for. You get the hard ones where it's like, here are 3 really bad choices. Which bad choice do you want? And I think it's presenting those, bringing that to your leadership and saying, I've done all the easy stuff. Here's where I need the hard work. And I don't know which of these are going to be most effective, but here's how they align to what we're trying to accomplish. I know you're trying to accomplish this. Here's how they align to that. We just have to pick one. And so it really, when you start thinking about managing up, it's really, to me, I think about it more as like, how are you responsive to the organizational needs that you're a part of? And how do you make sure that they're getting that, you're meeting those needs, but you're also doing it in a way that is effective in the communication strategy. Again, I'll go back to, I have a previous institution did a massive, or a countrywide review of programs and initiatives. I made this amazing report. It was 150 plus pages, tables and graphs and all this stuff. Gave it to my leadership. It went on a shelf and was never read. Why? Because I didn't realize at that time that leader was about stories, was about an individual. If I'd come in and said, here's the student that we're not serving, or here's the student that we're not serving well, and here's how I think these programs, these initiatives can serve that student better, I would have gotten accomplished more in that 30-second conversation than in 300 hours that I put into that report, because that's what that individual both cared about from an organizational perspective, but how they cared about them in the way that was effective to communicate with them. And so it's also understanding, what's the communication strategy for your leader as well.